All right, I think we're live. Let me adjust the camera here just a bit. Get us on track there. There we go. Okay. All right, before we get into answering some comments here, let's give the disclaimers we always give, and that is this is a weekly live broadcast. Pretty much every Thursday evening, 7 o'clock Central on this channel. I don't have a topic planned out. I just do my best to respond to the chats that come in live. So if you've not had me answer a comment lately, come into the live broadcast. I'm a little bit more accessible here, and I apologize again for not being as available as I used to be. I'm working on getting that fixed. And the only things I ask is keep it family friendly. You guys can ask me pretty much anything you want. But again, keep it family friendly. Don't be rude. Don't start cussing at people. Don't start spamming us with your comments over and over again. We'll kick you out if we have to. So let's get into it. We got a couple of people commenting already. You guys were early. Mark, good to see you. Good to see you too, Sujak. Thanks for joining. New Mexico Dust Bunny says, what's up, people? How are you? We're all doing well, I hope. Mark says, hopefully my Wi-Fi hotspot lasts. I have less than 10% remaining. Oh no, Mark. Hopefully it does last. Spencer, good to see you too. And Joni says, I got Quail. Well, congratulations. Hopefully that's good. Hello to you too, Sujak. Sujak, I guess is how you pronounce that, hopefully. And let's see, what else did you say, Mark? You had 60-ish Bob White quail, or Bob White eggs in lockdown, but had one of the Bobs escape the egg rollout, I assume. Caught him, however. Well, good thing you caught him. So, Frank, good to see you. He says, what's up, Chris, from upstate New York? And I got the name right, good. I'm bad at pronouncing names sometimes, so I appreciate you guys being patient with me on that. Well, chat's a little bit slow here. I guess we should find something to talk about. I don't know what you guys are up to. Hopefully you're all doing well. So far, we're doing pretty well right here. Wife got some good news back from her doctor's appointment last week. She had to have some skin grafts or something. I don't know. Not grafts. Skin something taken off and biopsied and checked. It's just a mole. Nothing to worry about. So that's good news. Spencer says, hey, Chris, I have one young hen laying eggs with no shell. Will that go away once she grows up? Still only 6 to 7 weeks old. Yeah, more than likely. And chances are the egg with no shell, it's probably just a one-time or, a couple of times you're going to see that and then it'll go away. It's nothing to worry about. Just checking to see that, I should say, just keep an eye on it. If it becomes a consistent thing where it's all the time, check your feed content. Make sure that it has a decent enough calcium ratio in it. About 1.5% to 2%, somewhere right around in there. You don't really want any more than that. That's about all they need. So as long as your feed ratio is, about 1.5 to 2% calcium, that's fine. You don't have to worry about it. It's going to work its way out. I still get an eggless shell every once in a while, but it's very rare anymore. All right. My Little Patch says, hi, everyone from Australia. Hey, thanks for joining us all the way from Australia. Frank says, just watched your temperature control box video today. Loved it. Well, thank you. I'm glad that you found that helpful. I have changed over. I'm using a different temperature controller now. It's still an Inkbird one, but it's a Wi-Fi connected one, which is pretty nice because you can program it on your phone, and it's a lot easier to use, actually. So, Mark says, praise for moles. Yeah, people take that out of context. They're going to think, what in the world are you talking about? But yes, indeed, praise God for sure. He's watching out for us. Sharon says, I put buttons with the Coturnics and the buttons die. Should I separate them? Yeah, if they're dying, for sure, separate them. They're tiny little birds, and the Coturnics can be a little bit rough, especially if your heat's a little bit on the low side and they're trying to huddle together to stay warm. They're going to trample those little birds. So yeah, it's probably a good idea to separate them out, especially if you're having some of the birds dying. All right, Henry says, hi, Chris, what is your opinion on meat rabbit colonies? Well, I mean, do what you want to do. I don't think it's not for me. Let's put it that way. Here's a problem I see with colonies. There's a couple of issues with colonies. One is you're going to have a very big area for them, or it's just going to get filthy, nasty, dirty really, really quick. Secondly, you're going to have to bury the fence so they don't dig out. To keep them safe from predators is going to be a little bit harder. You can't control the breeding like you want to necessarily. They tend to dig burrows to have their young in. So if any of them die, it's really hard to get to them. You don't even know. There's just several things going on with colonies like that I personally, I don't have any experience doing it myself. I just don't really think it's a great idea. People do it, and people have success with it. So if you want to try it, go for it. Just personally, rabbits to me are more solitary animals. You don't see packs of rabbits in the wild, and I realize these are domestic rabbits. They're different than the wild rabbits around here, but I never see rabbits really hanging out together. It's always just one rabbit, and maybe there's another one a little bit further off. And they might play a little bit if they're young rabbits, but when they're adults, they're pretty much on their own by themselves. And I'd be worried about in a colony setting, controlling the breeding so your bucks aren't overbreeding your females. But those are my concerns with it. There's ways you could get around that. I'm not the expert on colonies, so you might have to check somewhere else for that answer, unfortunately. That's just my initial thoughts on colonies for meat rabbits. All right, Sujak says, will you do some recipe videos for rabbits and quail? Yeah, I need to do that again. I've done some before, so you can go back through the channel and probably find them. Let's see, what have I done? I did a rabbit spaghetti video. That's pretty good. What else did I do? Quail. I think I did chicken or quail quesadillas one time. I'm trying to remember. Anyway, I've done a couple of different cooking videos with rabbit and quail. I need to do some more though, so yes, I will try to get that done. All right, we feed Homestead. Good evening. Any more news on the solar lights? Oh, unfortunately, that's looking like it's not going to happen. I can't say for sure it's not going to. I tried to run a couple of Kickstarter campaigns to get the funding for it, and both of them failed miserably. So I just don't have the money to invest in the the initial supply I might have to get. Who knows? Something may change with that. If it does, I'll let you guys know for sure. But at this point, it's looking like it's probably not going to happen. Too bad, because I think they're just an awesome light, and I think they'd be really beneficial. I'm not sure why it went wrong. I'm just not the expert, on internet marketing either. So maybe that was the case. I just didn't market them well enough. I don't know. Frank says, Wi-Fi Inkbird video coming soon. I did one on that. I did a video on that. Boy, it's been a while, probably about a year ago. I'm trying to remember what it was even called. I don't remember right offhand, but I did do a video on it. It's the Inkbird, what is it? Let me see if I can find it real quick, and I'll post a link to it here in the chat if I can. And did I find it? Oh, there it is. Smartphone temperature controlled. There we go. Got it. Let me get back into the chat and I'll post it for you down below. There you go. That's down there. Where did I leave off here? Wi-Fi. There we go. Okay, taco promotions. I'm building up my quail cage, trying to make my own version of a lifted cage, 6x2. How many Coturnix quail do you think would be good for? All right, you can pretty much figure roughly 1 square foot per bird. So a 6x2, 6 foot long, 2 foot wide, that's going to be 12 square feet. So you probably can fit 15, 16 birds in there, maybe even 20. After that, it's going to start getting pretty crowded. That's a little over 1 square foot or 1 bird per square foot, but it's not that far over. And if you're using wire bottom cages where the droppings don't build up too bad, then they're going to be fine, and they're probably up to about 20 birds. I wouldn't go much over that. Hopefully that answers that question for you. And now when they're babies, you can get a lot more in there than that. But, full grown adults, I wouldn't go much over 20. All right, Sean says hello from Santee, South Carolina. Hello to you too. Nollies, if your rabbits are in tractors during the day and have free access to grass, do you still have to feed them hay? No, you don't have to feed them hay at all. Whether they're in a tractor or in a cage, you don't have to feed them hay. I like to give my rabbits a choice of having hay. I think that long, fiber, that's probably good for them, but it's not a necessity. Plenty of people raise rabbits on nothing but rabbit pellets, and they do just fine, no problems whatsoever. So no, you don't have to give them hay, especially if they've access to grass and things like that. All right, Jessica says, do you see any value in raising heritage breed rabbits over, say, New Zealand whites? We're about to move to our own homestead in North Carolina and looking into meat rabbits. Well, I think it kind of depends on what you're looking to get out of them. If you're looking for just purely meat production and the fastest, most production you can get out of it, it's hard to beat a New Zealand white or a California. But then again, some of those heritage breeds do keep up pretty well. And if you just have a special affinity for them, why not? I don't know that there's any downside to raising them. The only downside might be you might have a slightly slower grow out rate with them, or they may not have quite as big a litters. You may have not, some of those kinds of things. New Zealand whites have been bred for meat, and they've been bred for meat for a very long time. So you get good breeding stock of those, and it's just, litter after litter, big litter, grow fast. I mean, it's hard to beat them for a meat rabbit if that's all you're into is just meat rabbit. But if you want something that you can kind of maybe enjoy a little bit more than just meat rabbit, then look into some of those heritage breeds. Why not? There's nothing wrong with it, and you can always you don't have to stick with that decision forever too. You could get a heritage breed rabbit, try breeding them, see how they do, and if you don't like them, sell them. Sell them to somebody fairly cheap. Get some New Zealand whites to replace them with later on down the road. But it's not, it's not the end of the world. I mean, it's not so drastically different. I would say, oh no, don't get them. I don't mean it like that. You have to make that decision for yourself, I think. I've had a couple of non-New Zealand whites. I'd stay away from Flemish Giants for meat production. They just not a good meat production rabbit. Or Flemish mixes, any of those. Those aren't really your heritage breeds, but silver foxes are really good. They make a good meat rabbit and have pretty good temperaments usually. That's about all I have personally. Oh, giant chinchillas. They actually make pretty good meat rabbits too. All right. Excuse me. Taco says, I've been watching all your videos. Oh, I've been watching all your videos. Highly respectable. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you for watching them and for the kind comments. Hey, there's Bubba from North Carolina. Good to see you. New Mexico Dust Bunny says, hey, Chris, great to hear about your wife. I may have told you already, but I don't think I did. Recently, I got a pure black Rex. I'm excited. I'm breeding him tonight. Awesome. Yeah, full standard size Rex. Make a decent meat rabbit. I think the thing that gets confusing about those is, when you hear Rex rabbits, a lot of times you think mini Rex for like pets. Those are not a good meat rabbit. But a standard size Rex makes a good dual purpose rabbit, actually. Good meat rabbit and good for fur production. Now, here's the thing with that, though, is if you're processing those babies at 8 weeks old or 10 weeks old for the meat, that's the optimum time to probably process them for the meat. The fur's not really the skin. The pelt itself is not really that good at that point. If you want good pelts out of them, you need to let them grow out to full adulthood, preferably wintertime at least. They get their winter coat in, and it's a little bit thicker at that point, and that's a little bit better quality pelt. But yeah, you can get dual purpose out of them. All right, Eva says, hello, Chris from West Plains, Missouri. I'm able to be on tonight. Yay, yeah, indeed. I was up near West Plains not too long ago. Not too far from me, for sure. All right, Mitch says, Chris, my birds finally started laying last week at about 7 weeks. As of last night, I collected over 100 eggs with last night's harvest at 25. I have about 30 hens. Awesome. Sounds like they're doing really well. Congratulations. We feed homestead. Hey, Chris, we're in Northwest Indiana and we're raising meat rabbits. When's a good age to breed them? Generally speaking, you're looking at about 6 months old. Some of your giant breeds take a little bit longer to get up to breeding age, but most, like your New Zealand whites, your Californias, most of those standard meat rabbits that you commonly hear of, 6 months is about the right age. All right, Jessica says, after spending a lot of time learning from your videos, I finally got my first quail flock this week. Excited about the adventure. Awesome. Congratulations on your new birds. Hopefully they're all doing well. All right, Jupiter. Good evening, Chris. Good to see you again, by the way. And it says, hope you're having a great day. We have you cooked quail in a slow cooker. I did some squirrel the other day, and it got so tender. I have not cooked quail in a slow cooker, but yeah, slow cooker is great for squirrel. That's one of my favorite ways. I also like to cook squirrel in, I do rabbits this way too. It's one of my favorite ways to do rabbit as well. Go to the store and get those McCormick bag-in seasonings. Get the one for chicken. And it's like a seasoning packet, and it has a little plastic bag in it that you're supposed to put the chicken in, but you put the rabbit or the squirrel or whatever in, sprinkle the seasoning over it, put a bunch of vegetables, carrots, potatoes, onions, celery, whatever you like in there, and then you tie it off and you bake it in the oven. And it basically braises it, keeps it a little bit moister, keeps it from drying out as much. It's a really good really good seasoning. I like it quite a bit. One of my favorite ways to, it goes really well with squirrel too. I think I already said that, but one of my favorite ways to cook rabbit. I haven't tried quail that way, and I haven't tried quail in a slow cooker. I don't know. It might be worth trying. I don't know. My thought with quail though is there's not much to them. They cook so fast. I'm not sure if a slow cooker would be just too much for them. Maybe it would just. I think you might want to debone them if you're going to do that, because I would be afraid the little bitty bones would just become really brittle and hard to work around. I don't know. I may be completely wrong. All right, Grassy Field says, hey, Chris, do quail stop laying eggs in hot weather? Last week, Well, last week has been a little colder, and they started laying eggs. These few days are getting hot, and they stopped laying. Not generally, in my experience, but sometimes drastic temperature changes, like you have some nice cool weather, and then suddenly it gets really, really hot. That can be a little bit of a stress factor on them, and it can cause them to kind of slow down or stop for a day or two. Chances are, if you've got birds that just started laying, it may just have been a coincidence that they started laying when it was cooler, stopped laying when it was hotter. A lot of times when your birds first start laying eggs, they'll kind of take a little bit of a break. So they'll lay eggs, like maybe you'll get a couple of eggs a day for a couple of days, and then nothing for a couple of days, and then they pick back up, and then you get one or two more eggs the next couple of days, and then it usually takes them about 2 weeks to kind of get in the swing of things and start laying all over it, on a consistent basis. But no, I haven't noticed that hot weather in itself, or even cold weather, really prevents them from laying, unless it's just a drastic temperature change, a sudden cold front where it is 50 degrees and it drops down to the low teens. Something like that can get them to shut down for a day or two. They may also be molting. Sometimes the temperature changes can cause them to molt, and that will cause them to stop laying their laying eggs for a while. All right, grab another drink there. New Mexico Dust Bunny says, to Henry, I raise in a colony for a year now. It's great. Your rabbit's personality really comes out in a colony. They can be some drawbacks if you have a lot of rabbits. Hey, good advice. Thank you, New Mexico. I appreciate that. C&T says, do you foster rabbit kits? If so, how do you do it? I don't foster rabbit kits. I've never found the need to do it, but basically what you would be doing is you would have to have two rabbits that are pregnant pretty much the same time, or have litters really close to each other within a week or two, probably. And if you need to foster kits, like you've got too many for one rabbit to take care of, or for whatever reason, maybe the doe died, something like that, you just move the other kits to the other rabbit and hope she takes care of them. Usually she will. Now, mothering instinct's pretty strong. They'll usually do a good job and take care of them. That's it. You don't want to overload the rabbits, though, and really anything about over 11 or 12 is a lot for a rabbit to try to handle and try to take care of on her own. So I don't think I'd go any more than that if you can avoid it. All right. Elijah says, hello from Kentucky. Good to see you, Elijah. Thanks for joining. Good evening to you too, Will. Dixon's Dairy Goats from Clayton, Ohio. Good to see you. And Sharon says, do you give quail wormer? No, I don't give my quail wormer. I've never had any worm problems that I know of. I've never seen any evidence of any of it. I don't give my rabbits wormer. I don't give my quail wormer. If they got worms, then yes, I would worm them for sure. Now, that does bring me back to, one thought about colonies, though. In New Mexico, you might be able to kind of chime in on this and tell me if this is true or not, but my personal experience is any animal that's in contact with the ground is going to get worms. Maybe not a guarantee, but almost a guarantee. If you don't keep your dog on a wormer, he's in contact with the ground all the time, they almost always end up with worms. I find that would be probably true with quail on the ground all the time, or with rabbits on the ground all the time. Now, that's not necessarily that big of a deal. A lot of times animals can handle that just fine, no problems whatsoever. But it is something to kind of, Idaho. I'm sorry. Dixon's in Idaho, not Iowa. I guess I need to get my glasses checked. Did you say Idaho? Sorry, I got distracted by a comment. Anyway, that is something you might want to be concerned about if you're keeping animals on the ground. But if you're keeping them in wire cages off the ground, I've never had a problem with worms that way. I don't find any reason to worm my rabbits or my quail unless you start seeing signs of like extreme weight loss. Seeing the worms in their droppings or something like that. And don't mistake those for maggots. I've seen people, and don't laugh at it if you're an experienced animal keeper. Everybody has to start somewhere. I've seen plenty of people like post images of the rabbit manure with fly maggots in it. Oh, what is this? Do my rabbits have worms? Well, no, it's just fly maggot. It's common. So make sure you know the difference for that. But anyway, all right, where are we here? Hello to you, Boris. Tony Colello says, as always, thanks for all your great advice. Well, thank you, Tony. I appreciate you coming back to the live broadcast. Good to see you again. All right, Tanya says, hello from San Francisco. Awesome. We got people all over the country and all over the world. We got Australia here. We got several places. Tyler, hey, Chris, I've had a little problem with ear mites in rabbits. Do you suggest a spray to spray the ground around the rabbits to help? I don't know that that's really necessary. Well, it depends. Again, if you're keeping rabbits on the ground, you might try to find something that you can kind of treat the area with, because it's going to be really hard to get rid of them permanently if you've got, hay bedding in their cage or something like that. To treat ear mites, a couple of drops of food grade oil in their ear. Olive oil works just fine. Canola oil, mineral oil, any food grade oil is going to be fine. And just a couple of drops in their ear. You do it every day for about a week, and then every other day for another week until all the scabs are gone. Do it for like every other day for a week after the scabs are gone, and your rabbit's got no more ear mites. But if you've got a lot of straw or hay, or they're on contact with the ground or whatever, that's a place for those ear mites to harbor, and they're probably going to come back. So, it may be something that you do need to kind of treat the area with. I'm not sure what the best option to do. Maybe diatomaceous earth or something like that. I wouldn't use that long term, but you might be able to use it short term to try to treat the area. If they're in cages and you've just got like hay bedding, just take the bedding out and throw it away. But if they're in contact with the ground, you may have to do more than that. All right, Joni says, I have Chin New Zealand mix, and they give me 6-pound dressed at 12 weeks. I'm happy. Yeah, I was happy with the giant chinchilla. It was a giant chinchilla mix. I think it was a New Zealand chinchilla mix. I was happy with that doe as well. She produced some nice big heavy babies. They grew out really nice. They're awful cute. I mean, adorable little baby rabbits. I did have more problems with them getting nest box eye than other rabbits have, but that's not that hard to treat either. So that wasn't that big of a deal. All right, Jessica says, thanks for answering my question. Thanks for asking a question. Wouldn't have a live broadcast if you guys didn't come in and ask some questions. All right, Live to Fish says, anybody want California Valley quail, A&M tuxedo quail, Coturnix quail, bob white checkers in South Bay area, Hollister, California? So anybody in Hollister, California looking for some quail? Contact Live to Fish. New Mexico Dust Bunny says, oh yes, big, my new Rex. Okay, hang on. Oh, yes, big, my new Rex. Oh, standard size, okay. And yes, I'll be letting them grow to about 6 months. The rabbits I plan on using for fur. Any rabbits that don't have Rex fur are done at 12 weeks. When is a rabbit full grown? Generally, I guess it depends a little bit on them. If you're talking about Rexes and things, that's about a year old before they're really completely full grown. But 6 months is mostly there, so that's probably okay. I don't know if 6 months is long enough to let them grow out for their fur or not. I'm not really an expert on that. I just know that you really need adult fur, and I think it's probably going to be closer to a year old before they really get their full coat in. Like you want to be able to use for, if you plan on selling it or using it for anything more than just craft purposes. You may have to do that, but look that up. I'm not the expert on that, on tanning pelts and saving those kinds of things. You're gonna have to research somewhere else on that, and they'll probably give you better advice. All right, Jakir says, hey Chris, nice to meet you again, buddy. Good to see you too. It's usually 1 a.m. here in the UK when you go live, so I'm not always awake to catch you. Hope you and your family are doing well. Thank you so much, Shakir, and I appreciate you just making it. If it was 1 o'clock in the morning here, there's no way I'd be here. So I appreciate you getting up early or staying up late, whichever it is, and coming and hanging out with us for a while. All right, Chris says, hello from Montana, I think that is. We're moving from town to 10 acres in the country, excited to raise more of our own food. Boy, that is exciting. Congratulations. Phone call there. I'll have to call him back. All right. Where is that? Gyarkitek? I can't pronounce that name. Anyway, it says, greetings, Chris, shouting you from the island of Jamaica. Awesome. Well, thank you very much for joining us from Jamaica. That's another place I'd like to visit at some point. All right, where are we at here? The Seats family, hello. My first ever batch of quail eggs I'm hatching will be on lockdown Saturday. Got Celadon chicks. Awesome. Congratulations. And hopefully they do well. Good luck with your hatch. Sujak says, the name I cannot pronounce, Gyarkitek. So anyway, it says, man, you got to yell a little louder. Oh, I get it now. Shouting from the island of Jamaica, you got to yell a little louder. Okay, that makes sense. All right, Bubba says, yes, you can cook quail in a slow cooker. I've done 4 quail, and they were delicious. Well, thank you. That answers that question. Buster says, don't forget to hit the thumbs up. Well, thank you for that, too. I appreciate it. They feed, we feed. We just incubated our first quail eggs. We hatched 17 to 24. We took some great tips from your videos. More info to come on our page. Awesome. 17 to 24 is pretty good hatch, so well done. Good job. All right, Guy Architect, I'm going to call you Creations. Hopefully that's okay. I can pronounce that easily. Says, my question, how often does jumbo quail lay? Can you do a video showing the difference in quails? Right now, all I have is jumbo quail, so I can't really do a video showing all the difference in quails, but I have done those in the past, comparing like standard quail to jumbo quail and their egg size and some of those kinds of things. And, they are significantly bigger birds. They do lay bigger eggs. I wouldn't say, quail eggs aren't that big, so it's not that much bigger than a standard sized quail egg. It is bigger, but how much, it's hard to say. As far as how often they lay, if you've got the right conditions, enough light, and they're calm, they don't have any stress factors, you're not moving them around a lot, 14 hours a day of light, they're going to lay pretty much every day. You should get an egg almost every day from your hens. Once they're old enough, 8 to 12 weeks, somewhere right around in there. All right, C&T says, thanks. Well, you're absolutely welcome. Nicholas from Denver says, great to see you again. Good to see you too, Nicholas. Thanks for joining. Jakir says, my quail are usually well and healthy, but sometimes notice red, waxy, thick poop. Any idea what it could be? I've also had a quail born with an oversized crop, which was only been getting bigger. The quail's about 8 weeks old now. Interesting. Red, waxy, thick poop. That almost sounds like a sign of like some kind of parasite or something. You might check for, worms or coccidiosis, something like that. If it's just an every once in a while kind of thing, I wouldn't even worry about it. But if it becomes a regular thing, then that might be a little bit of a more of a concern. As far as a oversized crop that keeps getting bigger, he was born with it. That sounds like a deformity of some kind. There are such things where they can get impacted crops and things like that, but that's probably not the case with, a baby quail that was born with it. That's a little different. So I would say that's probably just a deformity. All right, Dixon's Goat says, Idaho, not Iowa. Okay, got it. Stevie Outdoors. Hi, Chris. Again, thanks for sharing your videos. They have been really helpful. Well, thank you for watching. I'm glad to hear that. Tanya, I have 2 button quails as pets. They're actually both male. They're about 8 weeks now. They've never had any interaction with females. Will they be able to stay together without females? They should be able to stay together. There's going to come a point where they're going to start calling for females, whether they've had interaction with them or not. That's just the nature of a male quail. But that doesn't mean you can't keep them together. They should be able to stay together, whether they have interaction with females or not. It shouldn't be a big issue. All right, Rhonda says, hey, Chris, hope everyone in your family is well. Got a question for you. How many quail can I put in an 8 by 3 foot enclosure? Hey, that question came up earlier. By the way, good to see you again, Rhonda. Hope things are going well with you. Okay, so 8 by 3, that's 24 square feet. Is my math right? 24, 8 times 3. So I think that's right, 24. I'm not the best at math, so I may be wrong. So you can probably get, I would say, about a square foot per bird, but you can push that a little bit. So, for that, I'd go maybe 30 birds at the most, probably closer to 25, 26, somewhere right around in there. You could probably get away with 30 in there. It wouldn't be too bad, but I wouldn't go much over that. All right. Doug says, at what age should I introduce young quails to adults? At whatever. As soon as they're ready to go outside, throw them in with the adults. I typically do it in the summertime when the nighttime lows aren't getting below about 75. At about 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, once they're just feathered out, they can handle the nighttime temperatures of 75 degrees at that point. They go right in the hutch with the adults. It works great. I would try to get them introduced before they're 5 weeks old, somewhere right around in there. 5 to 6 weeks old, they start getting their hormones in. They start behaving like male and female quail, and the other birds kind of tend to see them. I don't know if they see them as a threat, but that they tend to fight with them at that point. Younger than that, they seem to just mix right in just fine, no problems whatsoever. So as soon as you can, 2 to 3 weeks old, somewhere right around in there. All right. Loving Life's Imperfection says, have 47 eggs on lockdown, first time incubating eggs, anticipating them hatching on Saturday. Thank you for all the tips in the videos. Uh-oh. Hang on a second. I got to grab a cord here. I forgot to plug the phone in. I'm running a low battery. Oh, silly mistake. There we go. We should be okay now. I think. Let me make sure that's plugged in and actually charging. I think it is. I think we're okay now. So where are we at here? All right, back to Loving Life's Imperfections. 47 eggs on lockdown. First time incubating eggs. Anticipating them hatching on Saturday. Thank you for all the tips in your videos. Fingers crossed for a different hatch. Awesome. Good luck with your hatch. Don't be discouraged if the first one's not the best. Try again. You're going to do better. But I'm betting you're going to have a great hatch. So good luck with it, and I hope it works well. Oh, this is a tough one. C&T Do says, how do you treat sore hocks in rabbits? My personal opinion is eat the rabbit. I think that's a genetic problem more than anything. Rabbits that are prone to sore hocks are going to be prone to sore hocks no matter what kind of flooring you have them on. I definitely would not. I would not breed that rabbit. Well, you can breed it, but I wouldn't breed it and keep those babies as breeders, because it's just going to pass those genes on to the other rabbits in your herd. And I would get that out of my bloodlines just as quick as I could. You're always going to have to fight with that. You're always going to have to treat it. As far as how to treat it, if you want to treat it, give the rabbit something that's solid for them to get off the wire cage floor on. You can treat it with like Preparation H. It'll tighten up that skin there, keep it from splitting apart as bad. So that can help with it. But I think it's best to just put it out of its misery, eat the rabbit, get it out of your herd. That's just my personal opinion on that. I do believe that sore hocks is a genetic issue, and there are a lot of rabbits that are more prone to it than other rabbits, and they can get it no matter what kind of flooring they're on. Everybody thinks it's caused by wire cages, but I don't think that's the case. I believe that it's more of genetic, and those rabbits that'll get it on wire cages can get it on solid floor cages, wherever. So, all right, so hopefully, I know that probably wasn't the answer you were looking for, but those are, keep it clean. Like I said, you can treat it with Preparation H. It'll help tighten up that skin, keep it from splitting apart and staying that way. You can treat it with antibiotic ointment. Don't use one with pain reliever in it, but that'll keep it from getting infected. That's about all you can do, unfortunately. All right, My Little Patch says, hi, Chris, I have Bantam chickens in a large aviary setup. Can you put quail in with them, or will the chickens pick on them? I don't know. I haven't tried it personally. My thought is the chickens would probably eat the quail. That's just my thought. Chickens are pretty vicious, and I know these are bantam chickens, and they're smaller chickens, but they're still considerably bigger than the quail, and I think they would probably see them as prey, chase them around, and eat them, but I don't know that for sure. All right, Winter Wolf from Florida Keys. Awesome. I bet that's an awesome place to be right now. Well, I don't know. Are you guys getting hit by the storm, or is that all? That's up north of you guys, isn't it? Anyway, thanks for joining either way. All right, Jupiter says, speaking of worms, last year when we first saw black soldier fly larvae in the quail droppies, we thought they had worms. They were, we were total noobs. Thank you for releasing a video on them right after that. Awesome. I'm glad the video helped. But yeah, it's a common mistake. Don't feel bad about it. And thank you for admitting that too. It's just, I've been kind of a country boy most of my life, so I've seen, those kinds of things. I mean, it was something that kind of escaped me. The first time I saw somebody post a picture about that, same thing. The first time I saw somebody post a liver and say, what is that? Talking about the gallbladder on it, I kind of laughed at that. I'm like, you don't know what that is? I mean, I don't remember learning what a gallbladder was. It's just, I've always just known what it was. I don't know. Weird. But yeah, thanks for admitting it. I've got to remind myself every once in a while, we all come from different places. We all got to start somewhere. So it's, there's nothing wrong with that. Jakir says, if a quail has worms, is it harmful for them? What are the typical symptoms other than worms in the droppings? Well, it depends on what kind of worms they get. Some of them can be really harmful for them. Some of them they can deal with just fine. It's not that big of an issue for them. It really depends on what kind you're talking about. If you're seeing them in the droppings, they're probably roundworms, which are usually pretty easily treated to get rid of. But there are other kinds of worms, tapeworms, hookworms. There's a bunch of different kinds of worms, and they're all parasites. Depending, if they get, if you have a quail that's already a little bit on the sick side, or older animal, a weaker animal, or something like that, it can really affect them pretty bad. Or if you get an infestation of these parasites, then yeah, it can be really bad for your bird. There's a lot of factors that go into it as to how bad it is and how bad it's not, for them. So it's hard to say for sure. The only other things you can check for is when you process the birds, check their intestines, check their liver, check all the internal organs for signs of worms in them. You should be able to see them in there. All right. Jupiter says, don't forget to thumbs up, everybody. Thanks, Chris, for the great content. Well, thank you. I appreciate that, Jupiter. Sujek says, I know you do some fishing. Do you go hunting to fill the freezer? I do. I do hunt. Yeah, mostly deer at this point. My favorite kind of hunting is really squirrel hunting, but I haven't done much of that in the last couple of years. I do like deer hunting quite a bit. I shouldn't say squirrel's my favorite. It's one of my favorites. And the reason I like deer hunting. I like to be out there in the woods, and, it is just nice. You're just connecting with nature and just sitting there for hours on end, just, thinking, meditating, and then all of a sudden there's a great big deer and it gets super exciting, and, that's a blast. But if you want good, fast, high action hunting, squirrel hunting is the way to go. It's a lot of fun too. But yes, I do hunt. I've got quite a bit of deer meat still left in the freezer. We're coming up on deer season this year. I've been trying to film a hunt for you guys, but good grief, it's hard to do, because it's not like where I hunt. It's the deer are not like what you see on these hunting shows, and I don't have a cameraman. It's just me, so it's not like these hunting shows where they're showing like the guy sitting there, and then they they're panning out there. Oh, there's a deer out in the field. Oh, is it big enough to shoot? And they're making. It's not like that for me. For me, it's like I'm sitting there, and then all of a sudden there's a deer, and I got like 10 seconds to decide whether he's big enough to shoot before he's in the woods and gone. They don't just hang out there and give me a chance to think of it and turn on the camera and get it focused and all that kind of stuff. So who knows? Maybe I'll get a hunting video on file for you guys at some point. Kentucky says 6 pounds dressed at how old? I don't know what we're talking about. Oh, probably rabbits. My ideal, I usually put her at about 5 pounds, somewhere around in there, and ideally that's at 8 weeks old. But a lot of rabbits can't produce babies that grow that fast, so it ends up being like 12 weeks instead. Gabriel says, a riddle, a box without hinges, key, or lid, yet inside golden treasure is hid. That's an egg. I've heard that before. Good one, though. SMK says, SMK What's Next says, how y'all doing tonight? Just got here. I think we're all doing very well. Thank you. And thanks for joining us. All right, Live to Fish says, we need more fishing videos. Well, I'll try to get some more fishing videos out there for you guys. I haven't been able to do as much fishing. I got a vacation coming up here in a month, and the plan is it'll be like Labor Day, the week of Labor Day. So I don't know how many videos I'll get out that week. We'll see. I don't know if I'll be on for a live broadcast, but we'll know more as we get closer to that, and I'll let you guys know. But I might get some fishing in that week, so who knows? Maybe I'll take the camera along, and we'll film the vacation and how things are going. All right. Robert says, just got my first New Zealand breeder rabbits. I'm excited. I'll start breeding next month. Awesome. I'm not sure where you live. I like to wait a little bit longer. It's still pretty hot here all the way through September. It's usually not until like middle to end of October before it really starts cooling off, and that's when I usually start breeding. All right, SMK says, I've been looking for American chinchilla. I believe I have found some available in the fall. Awesome. Congratulations on that. They make great rabbits. Jakir says, 2 of my quail had molted and the feathers have never grown back. It's been over a year. Any idea what it could be? Thanks again for your input. That is strange. Their feathers haven't grown back and it's been over a year. I don't know. I mean, you're sure they don't have any kind of mites or anything like that? If it's only 2 of them, probably not, because by this time it would have spread to all the other birds. Make sure they got a high protein feed. They need the protein to be able to grow their feathers back, but it could be just some kind of mutation, some kind of gene mutation where they just lose feathers too easily. I don't know, man. That's a weird one. You got me stumped on that one. All right. Ricky says, do you know? Oh, and hi to you, Shauna. Please don't spam us with comments. We'll get to you as soon as we can. I don't need 1,000 highs from you, so just be patient with me. Ricky says, do you know anything about Florida Whites? Florida Whites are a good meat rabbit, a really good choice if you can get them. They tend to be a little bit smaller than the New Zealand's, but they make a great meat rabbit, so there's nothing wrong with them. All right, C&T says, do you think California meat rabbits have good pelts? Have you ever tanned a rabbit pelt? Not really. I mean, I have tanned pelts. I don't think, maybe a rabbit, I don't know, squirrel and a couple other things when I was really young with my dad and my grandfather, but since then I haven't really done it. I did keep a couple and tried to tan them, but I shouldn't say I tried to tan them. I planned to tan them, and then I don't know if I got lazy or absent-minded or whatever, but I just never did it. I just never got around to doing it. So maybe I'll do that at some point, and I'll film it if I do. But I don't know. I'm not super interested in tanning the hides and saving the hides. I don't have much of a use for them. So, but who knows? Shauna says, I love the dog. Well, thank you. Max is a good dog. Where is he? Max, come on, buddy. He must be in bed. He's being lazy. All right, Rhonda says, my connection is terrible tonight. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. I have those problems quite frequently, actually. Bob, should quail feed be different depending on whether you are raising them for eggs or meat or for breeding? No, I feed all my birds the same thing. Sometimes they're more for egg production, sometimes they're more for meat production, sometimes they're for, I mean, who knows? But yeah, I don't think so. Game bird starter, fairly high protein game bird starter, over 25% if you can find it. Everything, all my birds get that from the time they hatch out to the time they get processed or whatever, and it works fine. You don't need to worry about anything different. If you really want to, you could. If you're just looking for egg production out of them, you could probably switch over to a game bird grower after a while. It's a lower protein. It'll probably work just fine. It's a little bit cheaper too, but I like the higher protein. I think it adds for better production, better egg production, all those things. I think it just works a little better. All right. Joe says, my California does are 2.5 years old. How much longer should I... Oh, wait. How long? Oh, how much longer before I should switch them out? I'm thinking about using their daughters and need an idea of as to when to put them in the bullpen. You should be able to get about 4 years or so out of a California doe. It's hard to say for sure. What I would do is, you probably figure it out when the doe starts just all of a sudden, like California doe, she should be throwing probably 9 to 10 babies per litter. And then maybe all of a sudden she has a litter of like 3. And then, the next litter is only 4. That's a good sign. Save one of those babies. That'll be your next breeder. You're probably not going to get much out of her. But I would say probably 4 years, 3 to 4, something like that. 3.5 to 4 probably. All right, Brittany says, I have a younger buck and 2 older does. He breeds the does. I have the same age. He breeds the does. I have the same age fine, but my older does are very dominant with him, hump, and won't let him breed. Buck is 6 months, does are 10 months. Yeah, that's not an uncommon problem you have with that. Make sure that you have his cage far enough away from their cage where don't like put them right next to each other. When you take her to him, if her cage is right next to it, she's going to have that kind of same smell of her cage and things, and she might just be being territorial at that point. So try to separate them a little bit. Other things is just keep trying. That's usually about all you can do. You can't hold the female and keep her from, doing that, and then give the buck a chance to mount at that point, and they might work it out. But usually they'll work that out with a little bit of time. All right. CNT says, do you think I should treat earwigs in my rabbit? Earwigs? Yeah, I don't know why earwigs would be a problem with your rabbit. We got them all over the place. I've never seen them on one of my animals. So I don't know, are you talking about ear mites maybe? If you have ear mites in your rabbits, they start getting scabs inside their ears, yes, treat it. That can get very, very bad. It won't get any better without treatment. But again, just a couple of drops of olive oil in them is no problem. But earwigs should not be a problem. You shouldn't have to worry about those. They get a bad name, earwigs, and that's kind of the common. I've never seen one on any of my animals. All right, Verna says, sorry I'm late, Chris. It's okay. We're not taking attendance here. It's all right. Live to Fish says, when's the next giveaway? I don't know. I need to come up with something to give away soon. Hopefully, I'll think about that and see what I can come up with. We'll try to give something cool away. We've given away a couple of sets of quail eggs. That's mostly it, isn't it? Who knows? Maybe I'll find something really cool and be able to give it away. All right. Rhonda says, thank you. That's perfect. I wanted to have 25 quail. Awesome. Glad I could help. Tanya, what are we doing? How are we doing on time? Good grief. 15 minutes left. It goes by so fast. Tanya says, thanks so much. Also, how often do you need their nails cut, if at all? How often do I need what nail cut? I'm sorry, Tanya. I've answered a bunch of questions, and I don't remember what you're talking about. I'm going to assume rabbits. I never cut my rabbits' nails. Some people do. I just don't find it necessary. Now, you do end up with things like, I don't know if you can see that on the video, that little scratch right there. If you don't cut your rabbit's nails, you might end up with scratches on your arms. I'm not too bad right now. I'm pretty good. When you go to handling them, picking them up, and they kick and stuff like that. But I don't find that it's ever really that big of an issue. My rabbits, if I saw their nails getting really overgrown and, hooking on the cage or something like that, then yeah, I'd go ahead and trim them. But I never do. I never have had an issue with it. All right, C&T says, should I put rabbits in with chickens? I don't know that I'd cage them up together, but if they're in the same general area, it's probably okay. Rabbits don't eat chickens, and rabbits are probably too big for the chickens to eat, except for maybe the babies. That might be something to be concerned about. But other than that, I don't think there'd be a big problem with it. All right, New Mexico says, I agree with Chris. I have a Rex with sore hocks, and that has only ever been on ground. None of my none of my wire caged rabbits have it. Yeah, I think it is a genetic issue more than anything. All right, Will says, for those new to hatching like myself, just because your egg turner might hold 120 eggs doesn't mean it'll handle turning them. Yeah, that could be a problem. My egg turner does just fine, but yeah, it can get difficult when you start overloading the egg turner for sure. Good advice. All right, Jake says, you ever try hatching a double yolker quail egg? Not intentionally. I may have snuck a few in the incubator from time to time. They very seldom hatch, if ever. I just almost always, if I can identify that's a big egg, that's probably a double yolk, it gets thrown in the fridge and we eat it later or something. All right, Mark says, wish I had black soldier flies. All I have around my birds and compost are regular biting flies. Yeah, that's terrible. Black soldier flies are awesome, for sure. I haven't seen them really in my manure pile. I mean, every year I get them. I haven't seen them this year. I need to go out and do some checking again and make sure. I mean, I don't get down there and look real hard every time, but usually by this time, like the whole manure pile is just squirming with them, and they just compost that stuff down. They keep the other flies away. It's just great. But I haven't noticed them this year. All right, Gabrielle says, I don't remember learning how to swim. Awesome channel. Thanks for the info, Chris. Well, thank you. Yeah, I don't remember learning how to swim either. It's just been something I've always been able to do. C&T says, if my rabbit has red pee, what should I do? Probably don't have to worry about it, especially if you're feeding them a lot of hay or vegetables like carrots and things like that. It's probably just pigmentation from the feed that they're excrementing in their urine. I did a video on that a while back too. It's usually nothing to worry about. It's just pigmentation that's being excreted. Yeah, you don't have to worry about it more than likely. As long as they're acting fine, they're eating, they're drinking, they're acting like a normal rabbit. They're not just sitting in the corner being all lethargic and looking weird. It's nothing to worry about. All right, Dixon's Goat says, I tried hatching a double yolk chicken egg, and it was a disaster. Yes, I really enjoyed the fishing. Hubby won't go fishing with me. Your husband won't go fishing with you? That's terrible. I'm sorry to hear that. That's I could say all kinds of things here, but they would probably come out wrong, and it would be an insult, and somebody would be offended by it. So I won't say that. But that's one of the great things. My wife likes to go fishing with me, and I like that. I think that's a great thing. I love to fish. It's one of my favorite things to do. So I like that we can share that together. Adventures of Caden says, hey everybody, what is the best type of Japanese quail for egg production? They're all good producers. They're all Coturnix quail. They're all it's about the same as far as how many eggs they'll produce. Jumbo birds are going to produce the biggest eggs. You can't go wrong with jumbo pharaohs. They're just easy. Jumbo meat makers, either one of them. Those are going to be great options and probably the best for egg production. All right, Will says, what should I make my rabbit cages out of? Well, my personal opinion is you should make them out of wire. The biggest gauge wire you can find, which is probably going to be like 16. You might be able to find 14, but wait, am I going the right way? Yeah, 18. Yeah, probably. Yeah, yes, that's right. Okay. I almost got confused there. If all you can find is 19, you can use it, but try to get 16 or even 14 if you can find it. And build them all wired. You can hang them in a wooden shed if you want to, but don't build a wooden frame and then put wire around it, because what's going to happen is the rabbits are going to chew that wood, just chew it down to nothing, and they're also going to urinate on it, and it's impossible to get it clean after that point. So you're best off with just wire. I've got a video, the first video I ever did actually, on how to build a wire rabbit cage. You can go back and watch that, and it'll walk you through the entire process. It's a little bit long and drawn out. It was the first video I ever made. Really bad transitions, and it was terrible, but it'll give you the information you need. All right, Chris says, good evening from Arkansas. Good evening. I love Arkansas. Arkansas is a great state. All right, Jupiter says, hey, Chris, y'all still working from home, or is your back to work to normal? Yeah, I'm back to work now. I mean, we're not completely back to normal yet, but I'm not working from home anymore. I've been working out of the office for a while now, and it's kind of back to normal. Verna says, let's see, I got jumbo wilds from Myshire Farms at 5 weeks. They're 9 ounces, all because I did what you said about adding cat food to the chicken start. Oh yeah, nice. When you can't get other feed. Awesome, Verna. I'm glad to hear that worked out well. 9 ounces at 5 weeks. That's pretty good. So sounds like it's going well. Good job. Tanya says, oh my gosh, I meant quail nails. So sorry for my oversight. Oh, okay. No, that makes sense too. Now, I never trip my quail nails either, unless I got one that just noticeably has a really long one, but that's never happened. I've never trimmed them. I do have to trim a quail beak every once in a while. They will kind of get overgrown, and every once in a while they'll like splinter it, like break it, the tip of it off on something to be a little bit splintered. So I'll usually go with a pair of nail clippers and just kind of trim the end of it off to keep it from splintering worse, to flatten it out. And that's not a big deal. I mean, it's just like trimming nails. Don't trim past the quick, just the dead part at the end of the nail. So how are we doing on time? 10 minutes left. My wife is home, so the dog may be a little bit rambunctious here for a minute. I got the door open here, so he's going to probably start barking. All right, that one British says, you've helped me with raising my own quails, and thank you so much. Just one question. I'm putting my quail eggs in an incubator, and some of them exploded, and when I looked inside, black bits was inside. Is that mold? I don't know that it's mold. It's some kind of bacteria, though. Yeah, it's not good. It's probably not mold. All right, Jake says, thank you. You're absolutely welcome. Vino says, after watching one of your incubator videos, I bought 20 checker partridge eggs. 12 of them hatched on my first try. 2 broke their legs due to hardware cloth. Had to put them down. Now I have 10 birds. So for anyone starting off, don't put week-old birds on half-inch hardware cloth. Yeah, that's probably a good suggestion. I don't put my baby birds on hardware cloth either that young. I let them get a little bit older than that before I do move them out to actually all wire. That's probably a good suggestion. I like paper towels for bedding for my young birds, or I'm really enjoying the bigger brooder. The bed liner out of my truck bed I made into a brooder basically, and just cover the bottom with hay. It works great, and it lasts the entire. I don't have to clean it once until they're all out of there and into the grow out pens. All right, did I miss something here? My comments section does not seem to be. There we go. Now we're catching up. Hey, Robin from Michigan. Good to see you. Will says, thanks. You're absolutely welcome. And Jay Farm says he's, but that's it, just he's. I don't know what that means, where you're going with that exactly. But all right, we're out of comments. And my wife just got home from work. We may be ending this a few minutes, or we'll see. Says, I ended up putting wood shavings all over the cloth. Well, that's probably not a bad option. That probably worked out pretty well. It's good thinking. C&T says, do you own any crossbreed rabbits? Maybe. I don't know. My doe is supposed to be purebred in New Zealand, but I don't know. She may not be. So she may be a crossbreed. But I have the 2 breeders right now. The California buck. He is, I'm pretty sure, a purebred. And the New Zealand white. Robin Donna says, hello, Chris. Donna from Kansas City, or from Kansas. There we go. Quail are acting really anxious, jumpy today. Never seen the flock act like this. They are kept inside. They have never acted this way before. Any ideas why? Oh, who knows? Yeah, Spencer says, wow, I got caught up on the comments. That's new. No kidding. There's usually like a ton of them I can't get to. But yeah, that's a good question. I'm not sure what would cause them. I mean, every once in a while, my birds kind of get that way too. They just get a little jumpier than normal, and I don't know why. They seem to calm down in a day or two. Probably some kind of perceived threat that came by. Who knows? You may have just caught them at the wrong time. I don't know. I wish I could answer that one for you, but I don't know. Same reason probably my dog every once in a while just decides to get up and run laps around the living room as fast as he can. Why? I don't know. He just does it, Live to Fish says, take care, man. See you next week. Good. Oh, and don't forget, guys, I'm going to be on Katernick's Corner live broadcast Tuesday night, 6 o'clock Central Time. He's going to be doing an interview with me, so come and check that out. Give his channel some views. Evie, I think it is, says, what's your thoughts on breeding 2 rabbits from the same litters, same mom and dad? Don't do it. Bad idea. Don't do it. Never breed brother and sister. Breed. You can breed father to daughter. You can breed mother to son. Don't breed siblings. Bad idea. Sujak says, can you do a solar light giveaway? Well, I don't have any to give away. If I get some, yes, I will do that. That would be an awesome giveaway. Will says, would it be better to use a rubber-coated wire for the floor? For what are we talking about? Birds? That's not a bad idea. Just make sure that here's what you may run into with a rubber-coated wire is that it makes the gauge so big on if you're using like half-inch hardware cloth, it's no longer a half-inch gap in there. It's smaller than that, and the droppings may not fall through. They may collect on top, which is going to be hugely messy. Now, if you're talking about rabbits, I wouldn't use vinyl-coated. They're going to chew on it and chew it off, and you could try it, but I don't think it'd work. I don't know. All right, Tanya. All right, I'm not getting off here early after all. We'll just hang in there. It's all right. We got just a couple minutes. Tanya, is it okay if my male quails sit butt to butt together? They live inside, might be cold. They do it every so often. Yeah, I think it's fine. I don't think there's anything to worry about with that. Live to Fish says, can we follow you on Facebook and Instagram? Yeah, I don't. You can definitely try to follow me. I don't. No offense, guys. I just don't post much on Facebook at all. I do have the Facebook group set up. I get in there occasionally, but not very often anymore. I'm terrible at social media. You can check me out on Instagram. It's CD Carnes. So CD as in Christopher Douglas. That's my name. Carnes, Carnes. I don't accept friend requests on Facebook from people I don't know. Even if you're probably mostly followers, I just don't accept them because Facebook is for me to just keep up with my family, and the feed gets so crazy if I end up getting all these requests from people I don't know, and if I accept them, I'm like, who are these people? What's going on? I don't know what's going on. So I just don't do that. But yeah, you can join the Facebook group. I'll let you in there for sure. As long as you're not a jerk, you don't try just posting random stuff that doesn't pertain to anybody in there. We'll let you hang out in there. That's good. And again, you can follow me on Instagram. I'm not real great at posting pictures on Instagram either. All right. Ricky Curbo says, what do you do with your quail eggs? Oh, quail legs? Oh, I think it's quail eggs. What do you do with all your quail eggs? I get about 15 eggs a day. We eat as much as we can. We feed some to the dog. He loves them. Give some to the neighbors. Yeah, it gets overwhelming. Evie says, oops, not the same litter, different litters, same mom and dad though. Yeah, no, don't do it. Same mom and dad, don't do it. They're still siblings, don't do it. All right, can quail breed brother to sister? It's probably not the best thing in the world, but you have no way of knowing that, and I've never had a problem with it, so it's fine. Don't stress about that. All right, guys. Make a fan page on Facebook. Maybe I'm going to wrap this up. I'm going to go spend some time with my wife. We got I'm a few minutes early wrapping it up, but hey, give me that break every once in a while. Thanks for joining tonight. I appreciate it. Love hanging out with you guys. And how many eggs can a person eat a day? However many, I don't know. That's however many you can eat. I imagine that probably varies from person to person. But God bless each and every one of you. Hopefully we'll see you again Tuesday night on Katernik's Corner, and then again Thursday for the live broadcast. Take care, guys, and God bless each and every one of you.